How come that a franchise like Zelda has aged far better than a franchise like Final Fantasy? Let's discuss it. Hi everyone and welcome to another discussion video. Out of all the factors used to analyze not just games, but anything from books to food, nostalgia is one of the factors that differs the most from person to person. It affects how we look at anything at any time, since it adds all other factors surrounding us at the moment. It kind of acts like a wine that slowly gets better as we age, since we tend to romanticize our positive memories and therefore what we do at that time of our lives. Nostalgia is the reason mom's or grandmom's cooking always tasted the best. Not because of their pure culinary skill, but due to the taste of love and family through your memory. A song you heard in your teens may still have value to you later in life, even though your taste might have changed totally. It's the reason it's far harder the older you get to watch new movies instead of just re-watching an old one for the 100th time. I'm looking at you, Lord of the Rings. It also makes us look past obvious flaws, and at times it even tricks us into liking something we would hate in another instance, making us highly hypocritical. In a way, our memory kind of fools us, and to quote Mark Twain, it is easier to fool people than to convince them that they have been fooled. In video games, nostalgia has always been one of the greatest tools for developers. This is since it gives the opportunity to sell a product already in the mind and memory of people more than one time. The first type of games that comes to mind are all the sports games released every year that only get tweaked enough for people to realize the difference before selling the same game the players are used to once again. Same can be said for so many other franchises as well. God of War, Halo, and basically every Nintendo exclusive does this, and to be fair, we tend to love it. This is until you screw up in either two ways. The game either don't change enough, or it changes too much. If a game or series don't change enough, people tend to get bored and look for better experiences elsewhere. When a game or series changes too much for what the players are used to, it instead alienates the nostalgia from previous generations. This has most definitely been the case for the Final Fantasy series. The mainline series, which started out as a 2D Japanese RPG, has never shied away from change, and due to the many different styles of games, they have created a very separated fan base compared to games like Super Mario or Zelda. We now have the old school pixel fans who prefer the 2D generations, the ones who prefer the 3D era with the Final Fantasy games 7 to 10, those who got into Final Fantasy in the early era of MMOs, and preferred games like 11, 12, and 14, and all the in-betweeners such as myself, who are story-based players who tend to accept shifts in the gameplay, but instead are picky on stories and character, or the ones who loves job shiftings, and the list goes on. The problem for Final Fantasy is now that many players feel betrayed and want to change the direction of where the games are going. The only problem is everyone wants a different direction. Final Fantasy XVI's producer Naoki Yoshida said in an interview by Inverse magazine that this is something he has noticed and that it's now impossible to please all the Final Fantasy fans in a single game. He instead said that the best thing they can do is to create multiple games to the best of their ability, and by doing that find something more players can enjoy. If this is something Square Enix is willing to do with their franchise is yet to be seen. Maybe this type of branching out could win many of the old players back. Personally, I think he's right. Just like sodas or food, people will like different flavors in games, and there may not be a single perfect one per se. Instead, we might accept that future titles might vary more and more, and that all new games might not be aimed at all players. Another thing that I would like to say is that I sometimes wish that we players would have been a bit more objective and consistent in our views on what we want our games to be. Many times you can ask people what they want, and all they can come up with is an answer like, "I want it more like it was before." Not only is this a vague statement, especially in an ever-changing series like Final Fantasy, but it also makes it very hard for anyone to know how to satisfy a potential customer. Or to say it differently, critique without suggestions on improvement often leads to nothing. But maybe I'm totally wrong here. What did I miss? What do you want to see the Final Fantasy series do in coming years? And how could it keep your interest or win you back? Please discuss with me in the comments section, and remember to like, share and subscribe to get more content like this and to help the algorithm. Until next time, hej då!